How does a simple idea, something born out of sheer boredom with a couple of plastic tails, turn into a multi-million-dollar empire? Okay, let's dive into this incredible story of how a family party game became an absolute business phenomenon.
Yeah, you're seeing that right. $12.5 million. I mean, just let that number sink in. That is the total revenue we're talking about from a simple, silly party game. It started as just a way to liven up the holidays, and it turned into a business with absolutely staggering potential.
So this brings us to the big question, right? The one you're probably asking yourself right now. How in the world did a game that literally involves strapping on a plastic monkey tail become a multi-million-dollar sensation? Let's unpack this journey.
Our story kicks off like so many great entrepreneurial tales do, not in some fancy boardroom, but with a really simple need, finding a cure for boredom.
So, let's meet our founders, David McGranaghan and Julian Miller. They're a married couple living out in Los Angeles, and before they were game inventors, they were both professional actors. Now, think about that. They were used to performing, to entertaining people, and that skill, as you'll see, turned out to be absolutely priceless. So picture this, it's 2020. The world is kind of stuck at home, and just like for the rest of us, David and Julian's family gatherings needed a serious jolt of energy. As the designated entertainers, the pressure was on. So they just invented a few silly games to play, and the reaction was electric. That was the light bulb moment. The pure laughter and joy from their family was the very first sign they were onto something really special. And boy, were they right. That little family activity was about to explode into a legitimate million-dollar hustle. So what is this game? It's called It's Bananas, and the concept is just brilliantly simple and honestly a little bit ridiculous. It's a party game for all ages where you wear these monkey tails and you try to hook and pick up cardboard rings. It's the kind of thing that's an instant hit everywhere, from family holidays to bachelor parties. What's just staggering here is the speed of it all. I mean, they went from launching the game to nearly $1 million in sales in just 1 year. This wasn't a side hustle anymore. This thing was a rocket ship. We're talking over 650,000 units sold to date, and they're projecting $5 million in sales for this year alone. It just shows you how much this simple idea really connected with people. So, with that kind of crazy momentum, they decided it was time to take their business to the next level, which meant stepping right into the high-stakes pressure cooker we all know as Shark Tank. Now, they didn't go in there timidly. They walked right into the tank with a ton of confidence, asking for $200,000 for just 5% of their company. Do the math on that. That's a $4 million valuation. A really bold move, and yeah, it definitely got the sharks' attention. And how did the sharks react? Oh, not well, at first. Damon John was immediately turned off. He did not mince words, calling their valuation a total waste of his time. You could just feel the skepticism building in that room. And the other sharks, well, they started piling on. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful himself, pointed out all the classic risks of the toy industry. Is this just a one-hit wonder? Are their new games totally unproven? Is their money going to get all tied up in retail inventory? These were all really tough but pretty fair questions.
But then David and Julian revealed their numbers. And this is the exact moment where the entire dynamic of the pitch just completely flipped. Over $12.5 million in lifetime sales, a projection of $5 million for this year alone, with $750,000 in profit. The numbers didn't just talk, they screamed.
And Damon John's response to those numbers? The same guy who just accused them of wasting his time? It was simple, but it said everything. Holy crap. That, my friends, is the sound of a shark completely changing his tune.
So, what was the secret sauce here? What was going on behind those incredible numbers? Let's break down the anatomy of what makes this business such a massive hit.
It really all comes down to the unit economics. The game sells for about $24, but look at this. Their landed cost, which is the total cost to get it made and into their warehouse, is just $3. As Lori Greener pointed out on the show, that is a great margin. It's the kind of profitability that makes any investor sit up and pay very, very close attention.
And pay attention they did. The mood in that room went from total skepticism to a full-on feeding frenzy. All of a sudden, you've got Barbara Corcoran, Damon John, and the guest shark Daniel Lubetsky all fighting each other for a piece of the action. After some pretty tense negotiations, they did strike a deal right there on air. They accepted an offer from the founder of Kind Snacks, Daniel Lubetsky. It was for $200,000 for 9% of the company, plus a 99-cent royalty on every game sold until he got his money back. It really seemed like the perfect partnership.
But as any fan of Shark Tank knows, a handshake deal on TV, well, it isn't always the final chapter. So the big question is still out there. Did that deal actually go through?
And here is the final, absolutely incredible twist to this whole story. No, it didn't. After the camera stopped rolling, after all the excitement, the founders made a shocking decision. They decided to walk away from the deal.
So why? Why would anyone walk away from a deal with a shark? Well, their reason is really a testament to their own incredible success. A spokesperson said that right after filming, their company just exploded with significant momentum and major store orders. It fundamentally shifted their entire strategy. Basically, they were growing so fast on their own, the deal didn't even make sense for them anymore.
So, after that wild ride, what can we all take away from this? Let's try and distill their journey into some key, actionable lessons.
Their path really offers a clear roadmap. First, they started with what they knew. They used their entertainment background to make something genuinely fun. Second, they tested the idea on a small, trusted scale, their own family. Third, they knew their numbers cold. That was the key that turned total skepticism into a bidding war. And finally, they believed in their own momentum enough to have the confidence to walk away from a huge TV deal because they knew their own growth was even bigger.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. A multi-million-dollar business that started as a simple cure for holiday boredom. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What simple idea, what solution to a small problem in your own life could actually be the next big thing?